Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's session. My name is Askia, and I'm one of the event planners for the Redmond Reactor Space. Before we get started today, I've got a few things to go over. So if you could please take a moment and read our code of conduct, which we also posted in the chat. Basically, what that's saying is that we seek to provide a respectful environment for both our audience and presenters. We encourage engagement in the chat, but we ask that you please be mindful of your commentary. Please remain professional, and if possible, please try to stay on topic. We're going to be sharing useful links throughout the chat, so keep an eye out for that. I want to let you know that this session is going to be recorded and will be available on demand in about 24 to 48 hours after this session, and that can be found on the Microsoft Reactor YouTube channel. That brings us to today's session. It's scheduled to run approximately 60 minutes, and there'll be time for questions throughout. So with that said, I'd like to hand it over to our speaker for introduction.
Hey, folks. How you doing? Brian Benz here. I'm a cloud advocate at Microsoft, and I'm going to be taking you through hacking an agent today because this is Agents Hack. I have no slides. You can follow along at the link on the screen here, the short link, aka/AI agents for Java. What we're going to do is we're actually going to start with nothing. I have basically a blank repo here with just a system prompt in it. And we're going to get ChatGPT and some agents and a bunch of different large language models to write some code for us. And I'm going to show you a couple things, not only the actual code, but we'll just get started with the whole process. So once again, you can follow along. There's nothing in this repo right now, basically, aka/AI agents for Java. Feel free to fork it, clone it, whatever you want to do. And then what I'm going to be doing is writing this. At the end of the session, I'll post whatever we get to. Hopefully, we're going to get through a whole complete agent at the end. If not, I'll keep back and wait it after the hour, and we'll make sure it 100% works. But you're going to see the process of actually building one of these things using AI as we go. And at the end of it, we should have an AI agent. So what I do to get started, this is my workflow process. What I do is I go into ChatGPT. I have the $20 a month plan, and I ask it some questions. Now, yes, for those of you who've used VS Code before with the Copilot chat, I could do this as well in Copilot chat. But if I switch context, it doesn't save the history. So I can't show this to you in a presentation like this. So that's why I do it in ChatGPT. So here I am. I went into ChatGPT 4.5, which was, the latest model, has the most parameters, and it's great for conversation. So I asked it basically, if I write an agent in Java, let me make this a little bigger. If I write this in an agent for Java as a demo and part of a conference series called Agents Hack, what would be a cool example to use? Because I really was sort of drawing a blank. I write demos every day, and I've already covered a lot of ground, so I wanted to get something original. So I asked it to build me 5 or so great examples, and this is important. I asked it to ask me for clarifying questions before it started, and it asked some good clarifying questions. It asked, what's the audience and complexity? What should be the industry focus, the interactive mode? Should it be autonomous or should it demonstrate tasks? What are the integration needs, and then the demo duration? That's a really good question. How much time will I have to showcase the demo? So I answered, I said, 45 minutes for the time limit for that. It should run autonomously. For external systems or database, I have no preference, but an in-memory database, if we need to use one, so I don't have to spend a lot of time on building infrastructure and showing people that part, distracting from the actual coding of the agent. And then I don't need, one thing I asked it to do is I said, I don't need any code or anything laid out in detail, just a high-level description, because we want to get Copilot chat to actually build the code for us. So it gave me 5 suggestions. I didn't like, a couple of them are healthcare, and then I have to build all this data, dummy data, or find something on Kaggle, kaggle.com, if you're familiar with that. And then it showed me AI-powered Java code reviewer, which actually is something I'm actually doing for Microsoft right now. We're actually reviewing all our open source packages just to make sure, we do this all the time, to make sure that they're up to date and that they don't have any vulnerabilities in them. Security, of course, is very important at Microsoft, and we are always vigilant about making sure we're not writing any or sharing any code that's going to expose people to vulnerabilities. Anyway, so there was another one for healthcare. This is the one I like, the AI documentation generator for Java libraries. Any developer out there knows that when you're actually building code, it's kind of a pain to have to write the documentation, and ChatGPT and all the large language models are really, really good at writing code and also writing documentation. So I like that one. I picked it. And then down here, I said, I'd like number 4, please generate a very detailed system prompt that I can use with GitHub Copilot to generate the code for the solution. And it created this prompt. And, sorry, I asked it to ask me clarifying questions again. So it asked me once again about scope and inputs, documentation style, input formats, output delivery, and prompt tone and detail. All good questions again. So Oracle standard Markdown I went with for input format. I'll provide a link to GitHub repo that can be used as a source to generate the docs. That was an important detail. For output, I want everything to be generated and created with Markdown files so it can be added to a GitHub repo in a structure that flows well with table of contents in a professional and concise tone. So this is the system prompt it gave me. And so this whole process took a few minutes, but it really, really helps. Getting the prompt right from the beginning really, really helps, especially when you're going to be generating code. So it gave me a couple of examples. This is called a 0-shot or a 1-shot prompt, where it actually gives an example of the code it's looking for. Basically from here, I've copied this into my code here. So if you go out to that short link I shared earlier, you'll see this prompt is actually in there. But I've made a couple of small changes in the prompt itself. I want it to be Java 21, and I've edited a couple of things. So now what we can do is we can actually use this prompt to generate the code. But before we do that, I used ChatGPT and OpenAI 4.5 large language model to build this prompt. I can actually choose from different models here which one I want to use to generate the code. Right now, I've got GPT 4.0, but actually Claude 3.7 Sonnet, I know from experience, is a little better at writing code. That's the Anthropic offering, and it's part of GitHub Copilot Chat. If you there's a free version and there's also a paid version. I have the paid version, of course, because I kind of have some connections at Microsoft. So we have that. Now, one of the interesting things here about Copilot Chat. So basically what you do is you get an extension, Copilot and Copilot Chat. And once you've got that, you can work with different kinds of interaction with large language models. I can ask questions, so I can actually use the code that I have here. I can ask questions. I can also edit, meaning that it will make edits to code I have, but it will not submit that into the code unless I ask it to. And last but not least, we have agents. So agent mode actually allows you interactive creation of code, which is what we're going to use today. Now, a little bit of a caveat here. If you look at ask and edit, you have way more models available to you. So Claude 3.5.7, Gemini, some GPT, and also the 01 and 03 models from OpenAI as well. On top of that, if you want to manage your own models, you can choose one. Let's say I want to go with Ollama. It will actually choose some models for me. Oh, okay. Never mind. There's something wrong with my fetching those models. By the way, I'm using the VS Code Insiders version. If you want, you download the Visual Studio Code Insiders. There's also Visual Studio Code, which you can get as well. But the Insiders version is the one that does the most recent stuff. And by the way, a year ago, I would have never presented a demo with VS Code Insiders, but it just has so many new features in it that I can't avoid using it now, even though it does have things like I just showed you where it's a little iffy sometimes. Anyway, you can download Visual Studio Code Insiders. It's also, Visual Studio Code is also on GitHub. So it's open source and you can work with it. You can submit issues and you can do pull requests as well. So so I've installed VS Code in order to follow along with this. That's what you have to do. Install VS Code Insiders, and I've signed into my GitHub. And once I do that, I've got all these models. And let's say manage models again. I'm going to be very brave here and try again with another model. I can, for example, go with Anthropic. And you see here, it asks you for an Anthropic API key. So that's what, when you download Llama, for example, you can do that as well. It asks you for an API key. It should have anyway. And what you do is you sign up on Anthropic and you pay for that. And they have more updated models and things that you have access to that way. So you can bring your own models, or you can use any of the models that are chosen here for edit and ask. But then when you go into agents, you only have 3 models available right now. And by the way, this changes every day. So as of this recording, it does. But please do check on that little drop down to see what you've got available. We're going to go with 3.7. And I want to use this prompt. But before I do, you see it's got a context loaded here, Java AI agent prompt. Hi there. I'm always nice to my large language models because we will all be working for them someday. So it's good to be polite. Hi there. Please review this prompt and add any suggestions. Are there better prompt techniques that I could use? Okay, so I'm going to ask it to just review that prompt and see what it does. I've got it in agent mode, so it'll actually go ahead and change the prompt if it needs to. And I can choose the changes that I want to accept or reject as we go through this. So it's working away. Da, da, da. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. I can hit escape up here. Let's get out of there. Well, let's cancel that. Okay. Good. Go away. All right. Well, it's taking a while today. Hopefully not too long. If not, we'll just, oh, there we go. So it's going to review the prompt and suggest improvements. Let's see. All right. Okay, so it's creating a little thing. So basically what I did is I asked OpenAI's large language model, ChatGPT 4.5, to create the original prompt. And now I'm asking Anthropic's Claude 3.7 Sonnet to review that prompt and see if there's anything that I want to make changes. Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, it gives some suggestions. We're just going to go for this for now. So it actually changed a little bit in terms of the structure, but nothing major. I don't see a lot of changes here. Let's go ahead and keep those changes, and we'll save that. All right, so now we're actually going to just use this prompt, and we're going to paste it in here. And this should actually generate some code for us. So we'll close that prompt. And it's going to take a couple of minutes here. No, I didn't ask it to do that. Okay. So it's misunderstanding my question. Now it's reviewing the prompt. Oh, I see what it did. Okay, never mind. What it did is it actually changed my prompt, and this happens. It changed my prompt to basically describe actual documentation creation instead of generating the code I need. But that's okay. That's okay. I know what to do next. We'll just wait until it's done here. And this is a good example of showing you how it actually creates things and how you can interact with it. So it's created a documentor. I like it actually. So it's got a name. It's got some branding for me now. Documentor is the name of the documentation specialist with deep knowledge of software architecture. Awesome. Okay. All right. And so basically what it's done is it's added some additional prompt engineering techniques. And it's rewriting it, as you can see over here. Wow. Okay. So this is a pretty detailed prompt now. Holy cow. All right. So it's given examples and everything. And it's using a reasoning process. Okay. So it's going to actually give me a reasoning process for building this application. Well, not for building the application, for providing the documentation. So yeah, I think it's still working. Okay, so it's adding a context window management. All right, let's add a section to help the AI manage its context window efficiently when dealing with large code bases. Okay. For large classes. Okay, so it's actually creating a little bit. I don't know if it needs all this, but it's going overboard. That's okay. That's okay. This would take a long time for someone to actually write and create this. But hey, this is actually working well. So far we've got a reasoning process. Okay, so it's actually giving an example of some code. Okay, so what I have to do now is I have to tell it basically what it's done here. Please create a Java application based on this prompt, which I didn't do. I just pasted the prompt in and thought it was going to work, but it didn't. It's actually going into way more detail about what it should do for building the prompt. Okay, so it's adding some conversational primers, whatever you want to call them, for understanding complex code. It adds a section for specific questions the AI agent should ask itself. Okay. Let's see what else it does. This is interesting, though. It's interesting to see the technique that is going through here. It's actually, it keeps reviewing it and rewriting it. Okay. Well, this is fun. And by the way, you'll get a different result every single time you try this. So, are there any questions while this is actually generating? And don't worry, we're going to get to the code generation in a moment. It is actually going to build an agent for this. Oh God, context window management strategies. I think it's got a little overboard here, but let's let it do its thing. Okay, so it's done. Let's keep it. So we're just going to keep everything, and I'm going to say no, thank you. Thank you. Once again, polite to the LLM. No, thank you. Please create a Java agent that executes these tasks based this prompt. There we go. Let's be a little more specific this time. Yeah. And I misspelled executes, but that's okay. It knows what I mean. Okay, so it's going to create the project structure for us. It's going to make a directory. Okay, yep. All right, that'll be good. Creating the basic project structure. By the way, you can do this less interactively, but I like to do this for demos. You can actually produce things nicely. So you see down here, I had a WSL terminal. Now it's got a Copilot terminal. And the Copilot terminal is based on the default, which is WSL. So it's gone ahead and it's created, well, that's not good, but we'll fix that later. It's created a couple of directories. And now it's going to create the project structure. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, excellent. So it's going to create the pom.xml. I told it to use LangChain for J. LangChain for J uses a POM, or you can use a POM. You don't necessarily have to, but it will generate a pom.xml. There we go. So it created the directory structure here, pom.xml, LangChain for J for AI integration, Azure OpenAI integration, JGit for accessing GitHub resources, Java parser. Excellent, excellent. There's one important thing I need to do after this. You'll notice I already have an M file here. I need to tell it to use the M file for the credentials, but to keep it in the credentials. In fact, I do have that there in the original prompt. So let's see if it actually does it. If not, in my experience, you have to tell it to do that afterwards. So let's see what it does. I don't want to show the M file because that has all my endpoints and keys in it that I've already created. And actually, while it's doing this, let's go into OpenAI. You can see here it's building all this code. And we'll come back to this. We'll let it work, and we'll come back to this. I want to show you this while we're doing that. I mentioned an M file that I created some items in. This is the Azure portal, so portal.azure.com. And basically what I've got here is I've got a resource group where I've created a whole bunch of items, including an AI service, which is already there, also a hub and a project. If I go into the AI Foundry, which is at ai.azure.com, inside of here, basically, I can choose a model. We have a model catalog. And the model catalog has several items up here. We have a leaderboard. We also have a way of comparing and benchmarking models here. And as you can see, excuse me, I'm recovering from a cold. If I click here, GPT-4o and a few other things, if I use Mr. Large, GPT-4o, if you look at the cost, it's a relatively high cost, but it's also way better in terms of context for quality when you're building code generation, as we are, and also for answering questions and building documentation. So we want to use, I'll skip ahead to the decision process, so basically use GPT-4o. Once I've got GPT-4o chosen, I can go ahead and I can create a model. You basically just go here, you click on the model, and there it is. There's the benchmarks. You can see the quality. Of course, the cost is high as well, but it's not bad for a demo that I'm going to shut down a little while as well. And what I can do with that from here is I can go in and actually just go back into GPT-4o, and where is it? 4o. GPT-4o. It's great for chat completion. It's also good for documentation. And I can deploy this hitting this button. And it will actually deploy, and it'll choose a resource location that works for me. But I've already done that, so I don't need to do that. I've actually got one created here. GPT-4o over here is already built. And I got a target URL and a key. I put those in my mvar file, and I also put a couple more things. So if you look over here, I use the API version, the endpoint, and I also added these values to my M file there. So it already has all that information in there, and it should be able to use that information when it's building the code. I can also share some of these basic code samples with it, but I want to see what it comes up with. If it gets too far off track and it can't connect to the GPT-4 or something, I will share this basic code example with it. Some of the other things you can do a chat playground. We also have an agents playground here, which is kind of cool. It doesn't exactly generate everything the way that I want for this particular one, but I can. Okay. Choose the right model for your use case. Hello. Why is it doing that? Okay. Normally, what it would do here is it would help me generate some code for an agent, but we're already doing that in chat, in the Copilot chat in the VS Code. So let's go back there. So get the idea, though. We have a lot of different facilities here in AI Foundry. It's ai.azure.com. Check it out. It's a good way to actually go through your models, check out the playgrounds, and figure out how to connect to AI services as well. I'm not sure why that's not working, but anyway, I don't want to spend too much time focused on that right now because we're actually doing some code generation over here with Java. All right. So over here, it actually created the code for us. Let's see what it built. Make this a little bigger so we can go through and see what it did. Okay, what it's built. It built a project structure, Maven-based Java 21 project with all necessary dependencies, set up integration with LangChain for J and OpenAI, implemented a modular architecture. That's nice. Model classes, so it's got a Java class doc, method doc, parameter doc, field doc, service layer. Okay, documentation. And so it loads the credentials from the M file, which I already provided. Clones GitHub repositories using optional authentication for private repos. Awesome. Analyzes Java source code. All right, so it accepts a GitHub repository URL as input, clones the repository, and parses all the Java files. All right. Well, let's see what it'll do for us. Okay, so clone or download the project, copy env template to env and fill out your credentials. Build the project with Maven, Maven clean package, and then run the jar with that's exactly what I expected. Be able to run the jar with the repo as a parameter, and the documentation will be generated in the docs directory. Okay, so let's keep all those files. And let's go ahead and see what happens here. All right. And we're actually going to do not a Maven clean package. We'll do a Maven clean install. All right. And the reason why I'm doing that is it adds it to your M2 cache, if anyone's familiar with that. Just so you need to use it later if anything has a similar command in your, or similar class name in your M2 cache, it will build that for you. And it allows you to overwrite anything that might have a similar name. Okay, so this is where we get into the thing. So this is where we're going to get into debugging. I'm not surprised it doesn't work the first time. All right. So looks like it's telling us compilation failure, cannot find symbol. All right, so this is where we start doing interactive coding. All right. This error message and provide a solution. Okay, so basically I'm going to do as much of this as I can. I want to see where let's go into Azure OpenAI service.java. This is where we're having the problem. And it looks like, okay. Yeah, the API version method is missing or has changed. Okay, so I think what it did, API, the line chain for J API is likely changed, or the API version method might be renamed or deprecated. This is common for libraries under active development. Okay, cool. Let's see what happens here. We're going to Maven dependency resolve, declassifier Java doc. Okay. So it's checking the available versions and details of the line chain for J library that's available in the project. Okay, so it looks like this time it built okay. So it was just a dependency issue. Let's see. Okay, so we got a build success. Okay, yay. All right, so let's go back to the, oops. All right, let's see what it says here. So it was an issue in OpenAI Service Java. It was using, okay, it's just a different version of LangChain for J. That happens to me all the time, actually. Dependency sources, so we updated Azure OpenAI Service, they're providing edits. LangChain for J changes daily. And so the service here, actually, it's using a very old version of LangChain for J 0271 when Alpha 1, I believe, is out now or beyond. So that's interesting. Let's see. So it actually, so what it did is it actually went through, it checked a couple of things, it tried to make some changes, and then once those changes worked, it's actually rewriting the code for me based on a different version of LangChain for J. So this is pretty cool. It's building, it's building, okay. And the parse is being called, the parameter description. Okay, one thing I want to do here before we proceed, I also want to check out this env template. Azure OpenAI endpoint, Azure OpenAI key. Okay. So basically what it's done here, I'm going to do a couple of things behind the scenes because my original env file contains different values for these names. I should have told it to use the env file that we have that exists, but I didn't. So basically what we need to do is we need to set this API key and the deployment ID. Okay. So let me just do this. I'm going to do this behind the scenes. So you guys, I'm not going to share my key with you, no offense. But I have the env file open in another window over here because I was prepared for this. So that's the endpoint. Endpoint. Okay, we're going to put the key in here. I already got that done as well. Now the deployment ID should be GPT-4o, I believe. Or is it going to be, let's see, deployment, yes, deployment ID. Okay, sorry. GPT-4o, okay. Sorry, this is part of it. It's not a good part of the presentation, but hey, I don't want to share my keys with you because I need to use that for many different things. That GPT-4o environment. So that's saved over there now. So I just updated it. It should be saved. And let's go ahead. So now we've got the correct envars in there as well. No, we don't want to do that. So I'm going to go Maven clean. Maven clean install. So this might have been generating some errors as well. Oh, keep, we want to do that too. Oops, might have been too late. I forgot to keep the files that were changed. I don't know if it's going to use them yet, so we'll see. No, it's not. Okay, let me try that again. Yeah, okay. So we're still having an error. All right. This time, model builder. All right, all right. So what we want to do this time, once again, we'll copy this in here. Hi, please help me with this error. And while this is running, I'll talk to you about a couple other features we have here. So you can actually add context here as well. In this case, we're using the env template as a context, but it actually uses everything. It used to be you could use a command workspace at workspace to select everything, but if it's in agent mode, it actually by default uses the workspace. You also can add additional context if you want. Let's let it do its thing. All right. So you can add additional context here, and in here you can actually there's a bunch of Azure commands. You can also add an extra code base, like we could add LangChain4j if we want. Fetch a web page, test files, usages, et cetera, et cetera. You can add an extra folder here, so something that's outside of your current workspace could be used. All kinds of different options here for adding more context, and this is the current context we have, everything it's using. So you get an idea of you can actually add some context. So let's see what it did. Let's keep that. And let's go ahead, and I'm not even going to read it this time. I'm just going to do Maven clean install. It's super lazy coding. I guess is what the kids call vibe coding, but yeah, we'll see. No, still not working. All right, I'm going to have to dive into the code a little bit and see exactly what's going on. I'm still getting errors. And while that's running, I'll show you one other feature. So MCP servers, everyone, well, a lot of people might have heard about them. They're everywhere these days. We have, if you click on the tools here, you can actually select tools. And this including an MCP server down here, Model Context Protocol is what that stands for. For now, we have a default one for Azure. So you can do all these things with Azure, including use the Azure CLI and a bunch of other things. And you can actually add more tools if you have a MCP server that you want to use. You can do that as well. Or if you're using a different code base, we're in GitHub Copilot, of course, and GitHub VS Code. So if you want to actually use AWS or something else, you can add a Model Context Protocol server to deploy to other clouds as well. All right, so let's see what we've got here. So the OpenAI service Java file, after analyzing the error message into code, I've discovered that in LangChain4j version 2.7.1, there isn't a direct method to set the API version. Okay. I removed the line that was trying to call, it removed its last fix. I added a comment explaining that this version, I kept all the other builder methods intact. Okay, so we'll keep those changes and we'll see if it actually works this time. How are we doing for time? 12:40. Askia, do we have any questions for anyone over there? Oh, this is looking good. It's good that we get the warnings. Okay, we got to build success. So now I've forgotten actually how to call this, so I need to go back to the README and see if we have get the instructions here. All right. So now what we want to do is we want to actually test this out. So what it's going to do is it's going to Oh, not this README. Oh, it looks like it didn't create the README, or it didn't add anything to mine to generate those instructions. So the instructions are a long time ago. Thanks. Please add README markdown with instructions. Add. Actually, please add instructions on usage to the current rate. There we go. So instead of asking it here where we're going to lose it later, we'll just add it to the and it actually called it Documentor Application. Sweet. Okay. There we go. I like that name. I don't know if it's breaking anyone else's name. That seems like a name that might have come up in the past. So we'll have to check that out. But anyway, it uses the Documentor application now. All right. Well, let's doing that. Let's pick a documentation file. I actually have a couple candidates that we could use. So let's go into RVS Code, open image, a new tab. I already showed you that. So let's go to my repositories. And I actually have something that I'm actually going to be using a little bit later. Here's a bank template that I generated a while ago for a customer that was working on something. And so far, it's pretty much, no, that's not going to work. Here's one, banking application deployment. Oh, it's already got a pretty good README. That one's got one as well. I had a repo that I wanted to use. Let's see. I must have a repo somewhere here with some terrible documentation. ARM on Azure is pretty good. Here's one. Yeah. Okay. So this one's terrible. So let's go with this one. We can use this one for documentation. Let's go back to our VS Code. And let's see what we got here. So it for some reason it updated my Java files. I hope it didn't break anything. And then what we need to do is just go into the README. And this should provide now instructions on building the project and usage. Oops, hold on. Go to the wrong place. There it is. Okay. So down here in the project, Maven clean package, this is what I want. Java jar, because I didn't check to see what the actual name of the project was. Okay. Now what we want to do is I want to go back to that repo. Java web app. And we want to get the Git. Copy. Now let's see what it does. Let's see if it actually, I mean, it should clone this. I'm kind of curious. Nope. Right away. Okay. So we have a JNI error. I'm getting this error when I generate the code. "15 minutes left." See, we got. I did ask it for a 45-minute demo, and of course, that's not barring any errors we have. Yeah. Okay. So it's a shade plugin. I'm not sure why we needed the shade plugin in this particular case, but okay. So the signatures are no longer valid after the shading process. Okay. So it's updating the Maven shade plugin configuration in the pom.xml. Okay. So it's updating, it's excluding the signature files. Okay. Okay. So this error occurs because some of the jar dependencies, including the Uber jar, are digitally signed. And when the Maven shade plugin combines them, the signature is no longer valid. Okay. Well, let's see. So what we want to do now is, well, let's do the package this time. I can actually insert this into terminal. I can run this here. There's a bunch of different options, by the way, when you're looking at these things. You can create, insert a cursor. You can apply in the editor, or you can insert it into the terminal. So if it actually made some changes in the pom.xml, oh, you know what? It's not going to work because I didn't choose keep, which saves it. So it's still using the old code. Just a moment. Okay, let's try it again. And we'll do the Maven clean install. All right. And then let's see what the actual command it gives me. Yep, it gave me the right one. So I can insert this right after. All right. So it's running. It's writing something. Okay, okay, okay. All right. So it's writing. It's looks like it's posting. It is connecting to our ChatGPT, which is great. It's not getting any errors there. Okay, so it ran. Let's actually see what it did. It will clone the specific GitHub repository, parcel Java files into this repository, generate comprehensive documentation. So what we need it to do now. Okay. Now we have to find that code. I didn't actually think about that. Find the actual code it generated. Where did it actually clone it? Let's ask. Thanks. Where does they clone? I can look at the code, but you know, where does the code get cloned? We have 10 minutes left, so this is working. We're doing pretty good. Temporary directory, GitHub repo. Okay, so under the users temp directory, users app data local. Okay. Let's have a look. I'm going to do this on screen just to, for for reasons. Users. Okay. App data. Local. Temp. GitHub repo. Huh. It's not there. I'm going to the right place. Users, username, app data, local, temp, GitHub repo. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not there. Okay. Please change the GitHub location, and you should probably add this as a variable in the M file, but for now, please change the GitHub code location to say GitHub local. Code location for cloning. Cloning target directory. Okay, please change the GitHub code cloning target directory to C GitHub local and add code at the end of the process with a link to the generated code. Brian can't type today. There we go. Let's see what it does. As you can see here, I use GitHub local for all my local processing. It might have created the actual code. It looks like it did, but it's not where it says it's going to be. So I'm just going to specify a directory where it should be. And we'll see what happens then. See, GitHub local. Okay. So it's adding the extract repository name method to the GitHub service class. It needs to fix the issues. All right. And of course, you'd probably want to set this up in an environment variable afterwards, but for now, I'm just going to hard code it right in here. And then afterwards, once we get this working, I'll probably set it up in the M file as a destination. Once again, I haven't seen any questions come across. Okay. So the series is just for the AI agents. I'm looking at the comments right now. I'm not seeing any actual comments. Askia, correct me if I'm wrong, but if there's any comments, we're coming up on 6 minutes left. I just want to make sure that we're okay. So we changed.
I think most of them Pamela addressed in the chat.
Awesome, thank you. So change GitHub repository cloning location. Great. And we've added links to generate documentation. All right. Well, let's see how this goes. Maybe even clean install. Oh, I did it again. Keep. I'm gonna have to do that again one more time. No big deal. Name and clean install. And yes, this does sometimes generate some errors, as we have. Okay. I have found this error. All right, 5 minutes left. Yay. Getting there. I hope this works. I really want to show this to you. Then I'm going to push it out to that repo. But either way, I'll even if we don't get it at the exact 1 p.m. mark, which is 5 minutes from now, I will make sure that that I fix these last little annoying errors and post it out there so it can be used. But I really want to. I really want to use the chat as much as I can to actually generate this code. So. Okay, it's just a missing opening of a statement block that happens sometimes when you're generating the code. As you can see, that there's a weird directory name here as well that I've got to fix. But yeah. Okay. All right, we'll keep. Remember to keep that. All right. Let's see if this works. Aye. Okay, still errors. We are certainly getting there, though. After this latest iteration, I'll push the code and I'll show the link again. But basically, well, actually, while it's running, why don't we show the link, Brian? If you go up to the short link for this repo is aka.ms/AI agents for Java. It's going to be blank right now because I haven't pushed it, but I will after this session. Missing open brace statement. Okay, so we're having lots of fun now. What the heck? Coming down to the wire. Let's see if we can do it. This is exciting. Asaf is asking, is there a folder called docs in the workspace? The documentation, okay, there's, thank you. Things are being answered, so thank you. Okay, 36%. Coming up on 2 minutes. Okay. Anyway, what I'll do for now, I'm going to push this just so I show you how to do that. Yeah, it looks like, okay, so we got the update here. Commit all, save all, and commit staged. Okay. So from here, I'm staging all the changes. Let's see if we got it. Do we have a hard stop at 1, or is it going to be actually going to be?
No, you can go over if you need to. We got time.
Cool. Yeah, I'm thinking this is really close. But if this fails, I'll just stop here. Oh, it's getting better. It's getting better. Okay. We got the web app. We're running it real quick. See, so it should go to GitHub local now, and it should provide a link down at the bottom here when we're done to see what needs to be done. Well, this is in 1 hour. We've gone from a concept where I didn't have any ideas of what I wanted to present. I asked ChatGPT, give me some ideas. There was a pretty good idea about a document, creating documentation for a database or for a GitHub repo. And I thought that was good. So we created the prompt for that. We refined the prompt. We generated the code. It even did a little branding there, something called Documentor. Okay, so it's in GitHub Local AI Agents for Java Docs README. Okay, so that should be actually docs. Okay, well, it actually generated it here for some reason, but I've got to work on that. But there you go. It actually worked. So we've got a thing called Documenter, which actually you point it at a GitHub repo. It will generate documentation for you. In this case, it put it in this repo instead of the repo I wanted to put it in, but that's okay. It actually generated the Java. It created the overview. And let's just look at this on preview. So it actually created the Java web app. It created the prerequisites, et cetera, et cetera. And we've got different links for it. I'm going to push all this out to the repo. So we'll definitely keep all that. I'll push it out to the repo, but for now, expect it to be out there in a couple minutes. Thanks for hanging in there for those of you who joined and stayed. And basically check out that code. It is at aka.ms/AI agents for Java. I'll push it out there in a minute. We got a successful documentation called Documentor. Try it out, actually. Try it out in your repos and tell me how it goes. One change I will make just before we finish up here, I will make it so it actually puts the docs in the actual repo, not in the current repo. That was a little bug that I'll have to fix, but it works. So thank you very much for joining. Once again, aka.ms/AI agents for Java to check out the code.
Hi everyone, hope you enjoyed today's session. If you aren't registered for the AI Agents Hackathon yet, register now at aka.ms/agentshack and start hacking on the agent of your dreams.
And if you have any questions along the way, just post in our GitHub discussion forum or attend our live office hours in Discord. And of course, make sure that you keep attending the live streams to keep learning about agents.
Once your project is ready, submit it before April 30th at 11:59 p.m. PT to be eligible for our prizes. Thanks for joining.